Epicureanism, a philosophy founded by the Greek philosopher Epicurus in the 4th century BCE, advocates for the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain as the ultimate goals of human life. This seemingly simple philosophy, which has often been misunderstood as advocating hedonism in its most extreme form, is much more nuanced and concerned with attaining tranquility through wisdom and moderation. Epicurus proposed that true happiness arises not from indulgence in sensory pleasures, but from living a life of moderation, cultivating wisdom, and understanding the nature of desires. In this essay, we will explore the core tenets of Epicureanism, its ethical implications, and how it offers a path to achieving a serene and contented life. At the heart of Epicureanism lies the idea that pleasure is the ultimate good. Epicurus believed that all human actions are motivated by the desire to seek pleasure and avoid pain. However, his definition of pleasure was not the indulgent, hedonistic view that we often associate with the term today. For Epicurus, pleasure is defined as the absence of physical pain, called aponia, and mental distress or anxiety, called ataraxia. These two states, freedom from bodily pain and mental peace, were considered by Epicurus to be the highest forms of pleasure. Unlike many hedonistic philosophies that advocate for the pursuit of immediate or sensual gratification, Epicurus emphasized the importance of intellectual pleasures over bodily ones. He argued that the pursuit of wisdom, friendship, and self-reflection were the most important sources of pleasure because they lead to lasting contentment. According to Epicurean thought, when we understand the world and our place in it, we can reduce our fears and anxieties, especially those related to the gods, death, and the future. Epicurus was clear in his writings that not all pleasures are equal. While he believed that pleasure is the ultimate goal, he advocated for a life of moderation rather than excess. Excessive indulgence in physical pleasure, he argued, often leads to pain and discomfort, and thus does not bring true happiness. For example, indulging in food or drink to excess can lead to sickness and regret, and seeking constant stimulation can create a life of restlessness and anxiety. Instead, Epicurus taught that we should seek simple pleasures that do not burden us with unnecessary desires or anxieties. The most pleasurable experiences, he argued, are those that provide contentment without creating further longing or dissatisfaction. Simple pleasures like friendship, conversation, and reflection on life's small joys are central to the Epicurean lifestyle. For Epicurus, the goal is not the accumulation of wealth or the pursuit of fame, but the cultivation of inner peace and self-sufficiency. In his letter to Monesius, Epicurus writes, "The greater the pleasures, the greater the pains too. The two are tied together, and pleasure is achieved by eliminating the sources of pain." This highlights his belief that moderation is key to achieving happiness. By recognizing the fleeting nature of sensory pleasures and focusing on internal peace and wisdom, one can attain a life of true satisfaction. For Epicurus, friendship was one of the most significant sources of pleasure. Unlike other philosophers who saw friendship as secondary to the pursuit of virtue or knowledge, Epicurus placed it at the center of his ethical system. He believed that genuine friendships were essential to achieving both ataraxia, mental peace, and aponia, absence of physical pain. Friendships provide companionship, mutual understanding, and emotional support, which all contribute to a tranquil life. In his principal doctrines, Epicurus states that of all the means to ensure happiness throughout the whole life, by far the most important is friendship. The companionship of friends allows individuals to share their pleasures, ease their burdens, and find reassurance in the face of life's uncertainties. Epicurus believed that true friends provide the kind of support that helps one navigate the difficulties of life and maintain a calm mind. One of the major sources of distress for humans, according to Epicurus, is fear of the gods and fear of death. Epicurus believed that much of human suffering arises from irrational beliefs and superstitions, especially regarding the divine and the afterlife. To alleviate this, he taught that the gods are indifferent to human affairs and do not intervene in our lives. There is no need to fear divine punishment or retribution. The gods, in Epicurean thought, are beings who live in perfect bliss and have no interest in human actions. Epicurus also challenged the common fear of death. In his famous quote, "Death is nothing to us, for when we exist, death is not, and when death exists, we are not," he argued that death is not to be feared because it is merely the cessation of consciousness. Once we are dead, we no longer experience suffering or pleasure, and thus death itself is neither good nor bad. By understanding this, Epicurus believed that people could live more fully in the present, without the anxiety of an impending end or the burden of seeking immortality. By dispelling these fears, Epicurus believed that individuals could free themselves from unnecessary anxieties and live more peaceful, contented lives. Epicurean ethics emphasizes the pursuit of happiness through the reduction of suffering and the cultivation of wisdom. For Epicurus, happiness is not something that can be attained through material wealth or external achievements, but rather through a deep understanding of the nature of desires and pleasures. It involves living in a way that minimizes pain, mental distress, and unnecessary cravings, while focusing on those things that bring genuine contentment, friendship, knowledge, and simple pleasures. Epicureanism is also closely connected to the practice of self-reflection and self-discipline. By understanding the nature of our desires and choosing which ones to pursue, we can avoid the traps of excess and greed. The pursuit of happiness is not about indulgence, but about making conscious choices that align with our deeper values and lead to long-term well-being. In the context of modern life, Epicureanism offers valuable lessons for achieving happiness in a world that often prioritizes material success, instant gratification, and external validation. The Epicurean ideal of moderation, simple pleasures, and intellectual cultivation is a timely reminder that true happiness comes from within and that mental peace is just as important as physical pleasure. In a world of constant distractions, stress, and anxiety, the emphasis on achieving tranquility through mindfulness and the cultivation of inner peace can resonate deeply with contemporary individuals. Epicureanism invites us to examine our desires, let go of unnecessary cravings, and focus on the simple, yet profound joys that life has to offer. Epicurean philosophy is often misunderstood as promoting a life of indulgence and excess, but in reality, it advocates for a life of moderation, wisdom, and tranquility. By focusing on the elimination of pain and mental distress and embracing simple pleasures, friendship, and intellectual cultivation, Epicurus offers a path to genuine happiness. In a world filled with distractions and anxieties, Epicureanism provides timeless guidance on how to achieve peace of mind and live a fulfilled life. Through moderation, reflection, and the pursuit of wisdom, we can all follow the path laid out by Epicurus to create lives filled with contentment and joy.